Do you think that it was your visit last month in June, Luis Alvarez's last trip to Congress? Do you think that that's what turned the tide?
Sure, this is what happened. Luis testified. We handpicked Luis. We knew he was going to die. Luis was up for the challenge. We asked him. And while it was selfish of us, he still wanted to do it. And then we got to Jon. And we took that paper away from him, and he did what he does. But it was like watching a figure skater score a perfect 10. It was like watching Nadia Comaneci get a 10.
Guy in a
no,
tutu?
I'm being well.
Leotard?
Listen, let me get serious for a second.
All
It's
right.
CNN. Anderson Cooper's watching.
All right.
We got the best of Jon Stewart. He painted a landscape for America to see our pain and suffering of the last 18 years, and he did it in about 8 minutes. And he not only chastised Congress, he embarrassed them, and then he lectured them, and then he scolded them, and he was like their parents, putting his foot in there. You know what?
When Lou Alvarez was talking, and I'm watching him speak, and there's only 6 people out of the 14 that were there that were supposed to be in the House Judiciary Subcommittee that were listening to him, and that's what really got me angry and set me off. And so I complained about this being a metaphor, that here they are speaking and they're talking to no one. And the head of it, Congressman Cohen, said, "No, you don't understand. This is a subcommittee, not a committee." And I was like, "No, I understand. It's a subcommittee." I knew that the room, I wasn't angry about the chairs that weren't supposed to be filled not being filled. I was angry about the chairs that were supposed to be filled that weren't. He said, "We're very busy." And I was sitting next to a man who had decided to spend one of his last days on earth fighting for his brothers and sisters so that they wouldn't have to go through it. And to not have the ability to perceive what an incredibly arrogant and out of touch statement that was, to give to a man whose liver would shut down that night and he would go into hospice. We're busy. And the other side of it was they kept saying 12 out of the 14 were there, but they weren't. 12 out of the 14 were marked present. You're allowed to come in, sit for a minute, and leave and be marked present. So they get to say, hey, 12 of us were there, but they weren't there. 6 were, and you know that. And those 2 moments, I thought, were an incredible, just a microcosm of everything that's gone wrong here. It was just so stark. And they were all running around like, we're busy. And we're like, well, geez, if only you worked in a legislative body that could change the rules so that it was more responsive to what constituents' needs for. If you can't do this for them, what chance do the rest of us have? This is doing the least you can do for the best of us. Those who had sacrificed everything to save our sorry asses on 9/11. And if we can't help them, honestly, what chance do the rest of us have?
Jon Stewart and the Alvarezes and Matt McCauley, they were doing everybody else's job, never got paid for it, paid out of their own pocket to drive down 95, and what they did was outwork everybody, outthink everybody, outperform everybody, out everything everybody, and that's why I'm happy for them, and that's why I can leave here today knowing that we kicked some ass today, bro. Yeah, we did.
And I do think politics is sometimes the art of removing your soul. Yeah. And they remove people's ability to do the right thing for causes that have nothing to do with what the needs are of the people. And they do it really well. And they've gotten ensconced in this. And that's been my experience here, is there's all these people working their hardest to do the right thing, and they're blocked at the top by those who are working to do the most political thing.
I agree with what Colbert says.
That's not. That's a different, he's a slightly taller, more Catholic look. You don't even know me. How long? We've been working together 10 years and you don't even know me.
You don't even know me.
Jon Stewart, aren't you going to miss seeing him? I mean.